$26.9 billion in reported total revenues, with net income around $8.5 billion. Rental income alone is a massive slice of that pie, arguably the single most stable and predictable. This is also where McDonald's model diverges hard from other major franchise brands. Take Subway, for example. Historically, Subway franchisees are typically responsible for securing and leasing their own real estate independently. Subway collects royalties and an ad fund contribution, but it isn't the landlord standing behind every location. That's part of why Subway's model has, over the years, faced criticism for oversaturation and lower average unit economics. There's less centralized control, oversight, selection, and lease quality. Chick-fil-A runs an even more different model. Chick-fil-A actually owns or controls the real estate for virtually all of its locations and takes a significant share of restaurant profits directly, but it also restricts franchisees to typically operating just a single location, unlike McDonald's, which allows multi-unit operators. Chick-fil-A's model centralizes control even further, but on a much smaller total footprint of restaurants. McDonald's model sits in a unique middle ground, massive global scale, majority franchised for capital efficiency, but with the real estate ownership retained centrally, giving it both the growth, speed of a franchise and the financial control of a landlord. The asset itself, why the land matters more than the menu. Let's talk about the actual real estate McDonald's is sitting on, because this is where the long-term thesis really lives. Visual, prime corner lot footage, busy intersections, highway exits. McDonald's doesn't buy random land. From the very beginning, site selection was treated as a science. Corners with high traffic counts, locations near highway exits, visibility from multiple directions, proximity to schools, offices, and residential density. This isn't guesswork. McDonald's has historically used sophisticated demographic and traffic pattern analysis to pick sites decades before a neighborhood becomes valuable. That matters because real estate appreciates over time, especially in growing urban and suburban corridors, and McDonald's has been buying and locking in these positions since the 1950s and 60s, long before land in now prime areas got expensive. A corner lot McDonald's bought in a sleepy suburb in 1965 might now sit in the middle of dense, valuable commercial real estate, and McDonald's empty storefront footage, a failed franchise location. Here's the part that really shows why this model is so resilient. Even if a specific franchisee fails, McDonald's doesn't lose the location. If a franchisee can't make the restaurant profitable, defaults on payments, or simply decides to exit the business, McDonald's isn't stuck holding a bad tenant forever. It owns the underlying property. It can bring in a new operator, restructure the lease, or in some cases convert the location entirely. The failure of an individual burger business doesn't threaten McDonald's Corporation's asset. The real estate is still sitting there, still valuable, still in a great location. Compare that to a pure brand licensing model, where if a franchisee walks away, the franchisor has lost that location entirely. They have to hope someone else opens a new store somewhere else. McDonald's doesn't have that problem nearly as often, because it isn't renting the building from someone else. It is the someone else. Visual. REIT stock ticker graphic, comparison of MCD stock chart to a REIT index. This is exactly why financial analysts have long argued that McDonald's stock behaves more like a REIT, a real estate investment trust, than a typical restaurant stock. REITs are prized by investors for generating predictable, recurring income backed by hard physical assets, often with contractual rent escalations built in over time. McDonald's checks almost every one of those boxes: recurring rental income, contractual minimum payments, assets that appreciate over decades, and a tenant base, the franchisees, who are heavily incentivized to keep paying because their entire livelihood depends on staying in that location. It's a big part of why McDonald's has historically traded at a valuation multiple more in line with stable, defensive real estate and consumer staples companies than with cyclical, lower-margin restaurant chains. Bigger picture why this strategy is genius. So let's zoom out and ask, why does any of this actually matter? Why should you care that McDonald's is secretly a landlord? Because it explains almost everything about why McDonald's has survived so many things that killed other restaurant chains. It survived the shift toward healthier eating in the 2000s, when fast food got demonized in documentaries and public health campaigns. It survived the 2008 financial crisis. It survived a global pandemic that shut down dine-in service everywhere on Earth. Simultaneously, it's currently surviving a period where fast food prices have risen so much that fast food is now expensive has become a genuine consumer complaint and a meme. Visual news headline montage, inflation, fast food prices. Through all of that, the real estate engine kept running. Franchisees kept paying base rent. The land kept being valuable. New restaurants kept getting built on freshly acquired, carefully selected sites. The burger business is genuinely one of the more volatile parts of McDonald's operations. Consumer tastes change, competitors emerge, ingredient costs fluctuate, labor costs rise. The real estate portfolio is the ballast that keeps the whole company steady while the burger business rides those waves. This is also why McDonald's franchise fee is notoriously expensive and why McDonald's is so selective about who it lets into the system. McDonald's franchise can require well over $1 million in startup capital, and the company runs an extensive vetting process. That's not just about protecting the brand, it's about protecting a tenant relationship the corporation is going to depend on for decades. McDonald's isn't just picking someone to sell burgers, it's picking someone to reliably pay rent on time for the life of a multi-decade lease. Visual slow pan across an empty McDonald's parking lot at dusk. Golden hour lighting. So here's the reframe I want to leave you with. Next time you pull into a McDonald's drive-thru, you're not just buying a Big Mac from a small business owner trying to make a living. You're generating a transaction that flows, in part, straight up to a landlord in Chicago, one that picked that exact plot of land decades ago, sometimes before the surrounding area was even developed, specifically because it knew people like you would eventually be driving past it every single day. The burger gets you in the door. The fries and the shake are the products. But the rent check, that's the business. A quick recap plus key takeaways. Let's recap the core ideas from this video, because there's a lot here. Harry Sonneborn, not Ray Kroc, is the architect of McDonald's real estate strategy. He realized franchising alone, on razor-thin royalties, wouldn't build a durable empire. McDonald's became the landlord, buying or leasing land, building or controlling the restaurant, then charging franchisees rent on top of royalties. Estimated base rent, around 10.7% of gross sales in some analyses, is roughly double the typical royalty rate, meaning the landlord role can generate more revenue than the brand licensor role. Rent has a guaranteed minimum in most leases, making it far more stable through recessions and downturns than food sales alone. McDonald's owns a large share of its real estate outright, and that land has appreciated enormously over 7 decades of careful site selection. Even when individual franchisees fail, McDonald's keeps the underlying asset. The location doesn't disappear with the failed business. This is why analysts often compare McDonald's stock behavior to a REIT rather than a typical restaurant company. The burger business made McDonald's famous. The real estate business is what actually made McDonald's rich and durable, in a way almost no other fast food chain has. Call to action. If you found this breakdown interesting, here's a question for you. Which fast food company's business model should I break down next, KFC or Subway? Drop your vote in the comments. Subway's story is fascinating because it took almost the opposite approach to real estate that McDonald's did, and it's a big part of why Subway has struggled with location quality and consistency. In recent years, KFC's parent company, Yum! Brands, has its own totally different playbook, involving heavy international master franchising. I've also got shorter videos breaking down quick fast food facts if you want something bite-sized. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.